Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Untold Tales from This Side of Nowhere. I'm your host, Connor Jones, and I'm joined this episode by a special guest whom I will introduce in just a moment. But first, a message from our sponsor. This week, our sponsor is Basin Pharmacy, located in Basin, Wyoming. Basin Pharmacy is your hometown pharmacy, as well as your source for over-the-counter medicine, vitamins and supplements, office supplies, Russell Stover chocolates, and greeting cards. You can stop in Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon. We're also sponsored by the Wyoming Welcome Program. The folks at the Wyoming Welcome Program are excited to announce a new service called Table Talk. They place brochures on restaurant tables in Cody and Powell that are filled with fun facts about Wyoming, jokes, and the month's holidays. In addition to this information, we include advertisements from local businesses. So if you're interested in being included in a brochure and getting your business out there, please send them an email. Their service is affordable and effective, and you can reach them at Haley J, that's HALEYJ, at wyomingwelcome.com. And now, the podcast. So, as I mentioned, I'm excited to be joined this evening for the first time ever on this podcast, and probably any podcast, on any podcast, by my cousin, Bridger. Welcome to the podcast, Bridger.
Yes, good to be here. I'm a little excited, a little nervous, but we'll see how this goes.
Right on. Well, Bridger and I can say we go way back, right? Now that we're in our 20s, there is a way back.
Yeah, feels like it's further and further back every day.
Oh, yeah. But we actually, grew up out in Otto on Poverty Flats, went to school together.
Did pretty much everything together.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, I mean, between working on the ranch, hunting trips, fishing together, lots of hiking.
School.
Yeah, in school.
All school. Sport activities.
Yeah. I would say Bridger is basically like another brother. A lot of us guys that grew up out there in Otto, we're close family.
Pretty tight-knit out there.
Yeah. So I'm excited to have Bridger here. Currently, what are you up to, Bridger? Where you guys living? What do you do?
We live in Powell. We've got a little girl, one on the way, and currently I'm an electrician working for Merit Energy. I cover a couple oil fields up above Matitsi, so it's pretty cool. I get to see a lot of wildlife and be outside a lot, and so it's a good gig. I enjoy it.
Yeah. In other words, Bridger is probably the perfect person to discuss today's topic with.
I hope so.
Yeah, so should we dive in and introduce our topic for today?
Sure.
Okay. Now, when I told Bridger that this was the topic, he wasn't quite sure where we would go with this, and I'm quite frankly interested to see where we go with this. But today's story is about artificial intelligence and the outdoors. So I know you probably wouldn't have thought those two things could go together in the same sentence, but
yeah, I've been pondering on the application of artificial intelligence in the outdoors, and I'm not quite sure where I guess it would connect. It got me thinking about like hunting and stuff and newer technologies that come out and how states have to regulate those different technologies. And it's kind of a work in progress with those different states. It led me to kind of think about Utah recently. I think they did I don't want to spread misinformation, but I think they did a complete ban on trail cameras and the use thereof. And it might have been Arizona that did that. I know there's one of those states that completely banned trail cameras.
Oh, wow.
And there was pretty good outcry about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they got a lot of pushback.
Yeah, because guys have been using them ever since they came out. But I know they've had issues where a lot of guys like to put them on watering holes, and you go out to a watering hole and there's like 40 cameras.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
the state agency has kind of looked at that, and they might have deemed it as an unfair advantage, and so they ended up outlawing it. And I know some states, they outlaw trail camera usage during hunting seasons and stuff like that,
Wow.
which I can see, especially with like cellular trail cameras,
Oh
where
yeah.
you get a notification on your phone, and oh man, that deer is there right now. Run down there and shoot him.
Yeah, where's the sport in that? And I don't know, like, technology has impacted everything, When I was thinking about this, I just thought about, in the lifetime of our grandparents, they went from, horse-drawn buggies and plows clear up to the era of GPS self-driving tractors and stuff. And even in our lifetime, I mean, since we were born back in the 90s. So
good old 90s.
if you remember clear back in the 90s, heck, just in our lifetime, I don't think trail cams were a thing when we were, first born in the late 90s.
Fairly new. The technology probably wasn't near what it is now.
Oh yeah, and if anything, get recorded to like a cassette tape or
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, they didn't have SD cards back then.
Yeah, no. So
floppy disk.
Yeah, floppy disk in the tree. So it's just in our lifetime we've gone from CDs and VHS tapes, and we've seen the advent of cell phones and mass media, the cloud, streaming services. But all those things aside, like, how much has it really touched hunting and fishing?
Like as far as like the cell phones go and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
I mean,
the technology there.
Isn't the basis of hunting and fishing, that hasn't totally changed?
No, but the way people go about it, I feel like has changed a lot. One thing that has changed the industry a ton is your satellite mapping, like on X. That has been it's nice. I use it a ton, but everybody else uses it. And so there's not really any secrets anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, yeah, you used to have to do the legwork and get maps from like the BLM or the National Forest and stuff to find out where the property lines were and where you could go. And now everybody just has it in their pocket.
Yeah. Any out-of-stater could honestly know almost more than someone who had lived here their whole life about who owns what and where the public land is and access.
And a big thing that guys do now is e-scouting, where they get on the computer and they e-scout areas and find out. You can, and man, all the different layers and stuff on those apps is crazy. They can tell you all sorts of stuff. They show you where burns were. They can show you where the snow line was at this time of the year. They can show you this is going to green up at this time. Wow. Show you this was cut. There was a timber cut here in 07.
Wow.
Just
so you can
a lot of information out there.
Yeah. And so easily available.
Yeah.
Wow. But I guess when you come down to it, though, it's still, hunting is someone's physical abilities. To a certain extent, you still have to get out there, right?
Yeah.
And then there's skill with a rifle. Fishing is still, for all of the advances in technology, fishing is still a stick with some string and a hook and catching fish, right? But I don't know. Artificial intelligence has changed so much. If you watch the news at all or even peek out from underneath the rock you're living under, you've heard about artificial intelligence or AI. And it's impacted lots of industries. As I'm a school teacher, we're always worried about students writing entire essays or doing their homework with artificial intelligence. or I don't know, in the media industry, different companies are getting called out for publishing completely artificially generated articles. Data management is being taken over by artificial intelligence. So, I don't know. I think the zany movies about robots taking over the planet are just starting to seem a lot more plausible.
It really does. I've thought about that a little bit. Yeah, it's possible, I suppose.
What happens when you have a robot companion that goes hunting with you? You know,
You can kick him to the grizzly bear.
Yeah, right. His job is to wrestle with the grizz.
Yeah.
Well, I've kind of thought of a few applications, and I'm sure that artificial intelligence can impact like the mapping and stuff. And I don't know, there's got to be something there.
Yeah, where they can, I guess, identify different variables and stuff like slope of elevation and density of trees and different grasses and stuff, and could probably pinpoint you to areas where there's better habitat for certain animals and stuff. But
Well, heck, what happens when they get access to tracking data, like historical tracking data from Game and Fish or
Yeah.
something? They could probably predict the location of wildlife and game
yeah,
pretty
at the
easily.
different times of the year and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Game and Fish hold that pretty close to their chest.
Yeah, that's a hand that they
Good.
keep close to their heart.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Dallin Opdahl, one of my buddies, he killed a collared buck this fall. And when we took it into the check station, the Game and Fish said that they would give him like a map and give him all the information on that deer, where he was summering, where he would winter, where he would travel to migrate and stuff.
Really?
So he should be getting that. I think they said they'd get it to him in February sometime.
Gosh.
So I think that'll be super cool.
Yeah.
Especially because he was up the North Fork, and the North Fork migration is pretty popular, pretty famous. And so it'll be interesting to see what part of the park he was living in and where he normally moved through and kind of what time of the year he moved through.
Yeah.
And if it was kind of more weather dependent, or if he just moved through at the same time every year.
Yeah. That might be the kind of information that he wants to keep close to his chest too. Huh. Well, the first application I was thinking about has to do with validating all of those stories that you've been telling your buddies about those enormous fish you've caught. And I mean, the news is rife with images of celebrities that have been modified by artificial intelligence and just advertisements that are generated by AI. And I don't see why hunters and anglers can't use the capabilities of AI to their own advantage.
I killed this monster buck. He's not real, but I got this picture.
To prove it, right?
Yeah.
So I decided that I would give it a shot. You know, AI is good enough for Sports Illustrated. It should be good enough for me. And while I can't say the results are earth-shattering, the images that I produced might be convincing enough to trick a friend who doesn't look too closely, or maybe he's not wearing their corrective lenses. So when I set out to create some pictures to back up a story about that whopper fish I caught last weekend, I was a little excited. Felt kind of like a CIA operative creating a deep fake to take down a corrupt government or something. But then I realized that I'm not a CIA operative. I'm a school teacher from this side of nowhere in Wyoming. And I don't think any of my friends are corrupt unless you ask my wife. But a little thrill of excitement passed through me as I opened the first AI image generator I found after a quick internet search. Well, my excitement was short-lived.
Oh, is that supposed to be you? What is that thing?
We'll have to put this picture.
Supposed to be a fish?
So we'll put this picture on our Facebook page and in the show notes. But the prompt I typed in was fisherman holding enormous fish. And
looks like you got about half a fish there.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the fisherman.
The eyes.
Dude, those
Got the
eyes
cross-eyed.
and the pupils.
He's very ambiguous in his where he came from.
Yeah,
He looks like he could be part Asian and part white.
he's
And
a
he's
little red.
Missing a finger.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that AI image generators are notorious for screwing up hands,
Yeah.
and this
Wasn't like hands are the hardest thing to like draw and get right.
Oh yeah.
or paint.
Well, and I would say the eyes too. And yeah, this guy's pupils are just like little pinpricks.
super angry.
Luckily, well, the fish might be covering his mouth, but doesn't it look like the collar of his shirt is like somehow covering his face?
Oh yeah,
Look at his shoulder.
is like huge. He's got
Real strong on that
Yeah.
left side.
He has no neck. But yeah, so we're looking at 3 fingers on the left hand. And while they kind of look like fingers, I don't know.
his arm looks like he could be a professional arm wrestler.
Yeah, in proportion
Real
to the
thick.
body, he has a huge arm. No fingernails. And when I really looked at this, there's like, doesn't that look like there might be another finger in like a mouth
Underneath,
cavity
behind the fish,
or something?
like in the gills, maybe.
Yeah, more on the mouth cavity of this fish in a second. The dude's right hand or claw, holy cow.
It's like they cut his fingers off and put it further up the fish while his hands further back.
Yeah. And so he's got like 3 fingers, all just like the fingertips all bunched together, and then 1 fleshy protuberance off to the side. I don't know if that's supposed to be like the shadow of his arm, the bottom of his arm sticking out just a little, or an elbow, but yeah, something's wrong with this dude. And well, let's talk about the fish. Fish in
Yeah.
air quote.
It's a hybrid
Yeah, what?
between maybe a crappie,
Yeah, I thought it was like a carp.
bluegill, some sort of bass, maybe.
Yeah,
And then you cut it in half. It has no head.
yeah. It's got a tail, and it looks like a dorsal fin, and a vent.
Tail's like goldfish looking,
Yeah,
real flowy.
yep. And yeah, those are kind of flowy fins, kind of green. But look at this anal fin. I don't even see where it connects to this fish.
It's connected to his arm.
It's like coming out of his sleeve or something. And yeah, it looks like a fish, relatively speaking, until
Squinted
yeah,
real hard.
if you were tired enough and had enough Mountain Dew in your system. But once it gets to the head, that's where it stops. I really have no clue
I don't
what's
know,
going
it's-
on.
It's like a pug.
Yeah,
A smashed face.
it kind of looks like, I don't know, this fish may have had, it either swallowed its face or it got punched in. And it really does kind of look like this dude might have an extra finger that the fish swallowed or something. It's like that song, yeah, which finger did it bite? This little finger missing from my right. Because it's gone. So,
The background looks nice.
yeah, it's kind
like-
of just a
Alaska.
general lake, a temperate forest, coniferous forest background. So what do you think? Artificial intelligence gonna change those fishing stories?
It's gonna have to come a little further.
Yeah. Well, I won't even.
Photoshop would be a better option.
Yeah. I didn't even know if I should bring up what happens when you search for a woman with a fish, because this is
Oh man,
truly
That's a
disturbing.
scary lady. Gonna eat your soul.
Yeah. You'll have to look at this picture. I don't even know how we could describe this.
She got like 3 arms.
Yeah, at
And
least.
someone's arm coming from off screen.
Yeah. And her hair is
It's wind tossed.
yeah, wind tossed and then maybe sprayed with liquid, epoxy or something.
The fish looks a little better.
Yeah.
At least it has a head.
Yeah,
It looks more trout like.
Yeah, for this prompt, I said woman with an enormous rainbow trout.
They went all out with the rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
Very rainbowy colors.
Super bright. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say, at least if you're using the free AI image generator, you're probably not going to pull off any deep fake fishing photos anytime soon.
I would say not.
Yeah. Well, the next area that I thought I'd look at was written content, because that's what artificial intelligent chatbots are kind of well known for right now. And I decided I'd ask ChatGPT for a great excuse as to why I got home late from my latest fishing trip. You've never been in trouble for getting home late, have you?
Oh, never. Never.
So here's what ChatGPT had to say. Honey, you won't believe it. While I was out fishing, I stumbled upon a stranded family whose boat had broken down. I couldn't just leave them stranded, so I spent extra time helping them out, towing their boat back to shore and ensuring they were safe. I lost track of time in the process, but I couldn't bear to abandon someone in need. I promise, next time I'll be more mindful of the time and let you know if I'm running late. But I just couldn't turn my back on fellow boaters in distress. Thanks for understanding. Think you're sleeping on the couch after that one?
It's not terrible. I'm actually kind of surprised. It's not how I speak, but...
Yeah, it spit this out. I think it took it 5 seconds to type.
Really?
Yeah, 5 seconds. But I don't know. I thought I'd try it out on my wife. And when she quit laughing, she reminded me that we don't own a boat. So,
yeah, that would be a deal breaker.
Yeah. If you're going to have ChatGPT help you out of a tight spot, you're probably going to have to edit it just a little bit. I was trying to think. A teacher told me the other day to help stop kids from from using ChatGPT to write stuff. They will, in their prompt for an essay, they will add like an extra command in white font, so you can't see it when you just look at the prompt.
Yeah.
But when kids copy and paste, ChatGPT will pick up on it, and they will ask it to do something that's like against OpenAI's policy. So when students copy and paste the essay, it will include something like, this content is against our policy.
Oh, really?
Or the other trick I've heard teachers doing is they will, in the prompt in white font, say, use the word rhinoceros in this paper, or some other word that would never fit with the prompt. And then when the teacher grades it, they just search for the word rhinoceros. And if it's in there, they know that it was done with AI.
Really? Got to do some sleuthing to keep the kids honest.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, who hasn't been faced with an essay or something and thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I could just...
The last thing I want to do is write this essay.
Yeah. I could just make this go away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's possible with artificial intelligence, but yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know. We're going to go plausible on excuses for being late home from hunting or fishing. My next thought was maybe asking it for some legal advice, because sometimes there are legal issues that come up while hunting or fishing. Anyone who's run into a game warden has probably had a discussion about hunting or fishing regulations. So, I don't know. I thought we'd open up ChatGPT and have it give us a live response, speak for itself on the podcast.
Okay, cool.
So, what is a common situation you might need to talk your way out of, or a friend might need to talk their way out of?
Trespassing.
Okay. So you're trespassing and a game warden catches you on private land?
Yeah, that's probably a fairly logical,
Okay.
pretty normal.
So I'm logging into ChatGPT, and we are going to ask it let's see. What should this prompt be? If someone is hunting and accidentally trespasses and meets a game warden, what should they say?
I guess I've never used this before, so I don't know. You just pose a question to it?
Yeah, you can just ask it a question. So, and the way you...
Excuse to a game warden for trespassing?
Okay. An excuse to a game warden for trespassing while hunting. Here we go. Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay.
Oh, they're offering some good advice.
Yeah, you want to read that?
If you find yourself in a situation where you've unintentionally trespassed while hunting and are confronted by a game warden, it's important to be honest and respectful. I feel like they pulled that off of some website.
I know, doesn't that sound like it came...
words.
Huh.
Here's an example of an excuse you could use. Officer, I sincerely apologize for trespassing. I was following a wounded deer that crossed onto this property, and in the heat of the moment, I didn't realize I had crossed the boundary. I take full responsibility for my mistake and assure you it won't happen again. I understand the importance of respecting private property, and I deeply regret any inconvenience I've caused. Remember to remain calm, cooperative, and compliant with any instructions from the game warden. Honesty and respect can go a long way in resolving such situations amicably.
Dang.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah. You almost have to adjust your tie after you read that. Yeah. Dang. Well, I think
like that's a very common thing that happens.
Yeah, and usually
you're trailing a wounded animal and you can't get a hold of the landowner or something like that. I'm sure that happens quite often.
You get kind of caught with two ethical questions. You know, do you let a deer die and go to waste? Or do you
break the law?
Break the law? Either way you are, isn't game waste against the law? Pretty sure it is.
Yeah, but I think they hold trespassing a little higher than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to a Jim Gaffigan the other day, and he said lying is only okay when it would hurt someone's feelings to tell the truth, or when murder has been committed. Because people are never upset that the murderer was lying. They always seem to be more upset about the murder part.
Really killed somebody.
Yeah. They overlook the murdering or the lying. It never comes up in court. So,
yeah. What, that perjury? Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Lie in court?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I wonder if they ever stick them with perjury on top of their...
Yeah, because usually they're more concerned about first-degree manslaughter. Or Yeah. Okay, well, ChatGPT will probably give you a plausible here. Now, if you can remember this in the heat of the moment, I would be really surprised, but you could always just, hold on, officer, I need to consult my legal counsel
I'm
on
checking
this one.
Onyx.
Yeah. I could have sworn I was on public land still. Oh, man. Okay. So we got that one. So I'd say after the relative success of ChatGPT's suggestion for smoothing things over with a game warden, I'd risk asking it for some advice on a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is great hunting stories.
Oh boy.
So don't think that I haven't thought that AI could replace what I'm doing right here. I'm sure I could ask it to write humorous short story about hunting or getting lost in the mountains or something.
They would miss a lot of the nuances, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like so far stuff has been passable enough that someone who was kind of ignorant on the subject would be like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. But I thought I'd try it out with a story. So I told ChatGPT, make up a great story about hunting deer in the first person in 150 words. And here is the result. As dawn painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, I ventured into the woods, rifle in hand, anticipation coursing through my veins. Ooh, wow, it's dramatic already.
Very over the top.
Each step was calculated, every breath measured, as I immersed myself in the rhythm of the forest. Suddenly, a rustle in the underbrush snapped me to attention. My heart quickened as I cautiously advanced, senses heightened. And there it was, a magnificent buck, its proud antlers silhouetted against the morning light. Time seemed to stand still as I steadied my aim, the thrill of the hunt pulsating within me. You ever felt the thrill of the hunt pulsating within you?
Yeah.
Well, this is my favorite part. With a silent prayer to the wilderness gods, I squeezed the trigger, the shot echoing through the trees. As the deer fell, a rush of emotion swept over me. Gratitude for the bounty of nature, respect for the noble creature before me, and a profound connection to the ancient tradition of hunting. With reverence, I approached my prize, knowing that this moment would forever be etched in my memory as a testament to the timeless bond between man and nature. Oh my gosh.
Sounds like could be
A novel, part of a novel or something like that for someone who doesn't fully understand
Yeah,
everything that goes on
it's
with
almost,
hunting, but
it kind of sounds like if one of the authors of those girl horse books wrote one about hunting and tried to
that sounds about right.
make it sound, I don't know, majestic and gosh, I don't know. It seems a little over the top to me. I mean, I don't know of any guy who has ever felt gratitude for the bounty of nature, respect for the noble creature before them, and a profound connection to the ancient tradition of hunting all at once, or at least not in as many words.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that way, but I don't word it that way.
Yeah. I think I'd love to know who else writes about hunting like this, because I would like to go see the shrine they have built to the wilderness gods.
The wilderness. Wonder what that guy looks like.
Yeah, I know. Oh gosh. So, well, if anything, this foray into artificial intelligence has given me some good laughs. I think it's been pretty entertaining.
It has been.
So I thought I would just see how AI does with humor, like when you ask it straight up for some jokes. So maybe we'll just tell these back and forth. So
got a glass of water because this is probably going to be dry.
here we go. You do the first one, sure.
Okay. Oh, why did the hunter bring a ladder into the woods?
I don't know why.
Because he heard the deer were high up in the trees. Oh, does not make sense.
I've read that one like 3 times, and I still have no clue what play on words it was supposed to be.
I was honestly hoping it would be a reference to the corner crossing.
Oh, what's that?
Has happened in Wyoming. Oh, it's pretty big legal case right now, but basically it's more in like the southern part of Wyoming where the railroads went through, and they gave the railroads like kitty corner sections of land, and so, but the railroad would sell the land to like ranches and stuff, but there'd be checkerboarded public land in that, and so in theory you could right at the corner, step across from public to public without touching private property. And there were some guys from I think they're from Missouri that came out, and they were hunting down around Elk Mountain, around Casper, I think. It was between Casper and Rollins, that kind of area. And there's this big ranch, and there's some great elk hunting back in there. And in order to access it, you have to corner cross.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year they crossed the corner, and they got very ambiguous answers from law enforcement on whether they could corner cross or not. The landowner was not pleased with them being there, of course. And so the next year, the guy he's a fence builder by trade, one of them. So he built this custom ladder to cross the corner to where they didn't touch
soil that could be private.
And on that corner, they had T-posts there that said to prevent people from stepping across.
Yeah.
And so he brought a ladder to go over it, so he wasn't touching But I guess the big deal is like the airspace issue. Like they were passing through their airspace. It's a big deal.
So they
It's kinda
sued
crazy.
those hunters, claiming that they did still
They
trespass.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a super big case, and it no, I don't know if it's made to the Supreme Court yet, but the precedent it will set will have a large impact upon just access to public lands.
Wow.
It's an interesting one to follow.
I told you he was an expert. That's why I have him here.
Oh, I just listened to other podcasts that talk about it.
Oh, okay.
That's the only way I know.
Wow, that's interesting.
Can you reference other podcasts?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd be happy. Who are they?
The Meat Eater podcast?
The Meat Eater podcast.
They talk about that a lot.
Okay, well, yeah, shout out to the Meat Eater podcast and the Corner Crossing. I guess you'll have to go check out their episode on Corner Crossing.
Yeah, they have several. I know the one episode they talked with the lawyer defending the Missouri hunters.
Wow.
So they had him on, and so they've been following it pretty closely.
Okay.
And it affects anybody who likes to use public lands.
Yeah.
And it affects landowners as well. So it's an interesting case to follow.
Almost everybody is impacted by it.
Yeah.
Private landowners and public land users. So, wow. Gosh, that one was so good. Should we try another one?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Bridger, why don't hunters ever tell secrets in the forest?
I don't know.
Because the trees are always ear to listen.
Not sure where they're going with that one.
I still don't have a clue. ChatGPT doesn't do humor.
Let's see, why did the camping chair break up with the tent?
Beats me.
It couldn't handle the commitment. It was too intense. Okay, maybe that.
Okay.
Okay, that was like
understandable. You could.
It was a comprehensible joke. That's like a level 1 dad joke right there. Why don't fish play basketball?
This one's not too bad.
It's because they're afraid of the net. Okay, yeah.
They're getting better.
It's passable.
See, why did the hunter bring a pencil to the camping trip?
I don't know why.
In case he wanted to draw his blinds. Yeah, they tanked on that one.
Yep. So how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jokes. 20%
2 out of 5 ain't too bad.
Yep. So, man, yeah, people say my jokes are horrible. ChatGPT probably not going to change outdoor humor anytime soon, I don't think. But it tried. I give ChatGPT confidence points for putting an exclamation point on the end of every punchline, even if it didn't make any sense. So, yeah. But gosh, yeah, we'll see. It will be interesting to see where artificial intelligence goes. I honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact on hunting and fishing. You know, not a transformative impact, if anything.
Not on the actual act of hunting or fishing.
Yeah.
I don't see it really having much of an impact there. And if it does, I mean, the state will legislate basically ways to prevent people from using it to have unfair advantages or be unethical with it. So.
Yeah, that's one thing. And I think that's what we're going to find is the government is going to have to figure out how to regulate artificial intelligence in a lot of different realms. And
like the deep fakes.
Oh, yeah.
Those things are awful. It's like you can't trust anything anymore because of it.
Well, and they can imitate people's voices so well.
You have to question everything that you see on the internet.
Yep.
Everything. You can't believe what you see.
So you might as well just listen to another episode of Untold Tales from this side of nowhere. So, well,
because I'm a deep fake. I'm not real.
Bridger he does not actually exist.
Created by ChatGPT.
Exactly. Well, it's been good having you on. Thanks for coming out this evening, and I know you're a busy man, but
yeah, thanks for the invite. It's kind of fun. I've never done it before. I listen to podcasts and stuff, and I've always kind of wondered what it'd be like to be on one. So,
it's not too challenging. as long as, we can always just fall back on some script from ChatGPT. So,
Yep. Bail us out.
well, if you have any experiences with artificial intelligence you'd like to tell us about, or any predictions for how it will impact hunting and fishing and other outdoor sports, you can drop me a line at untoldtalesthepodcast@gmail.com or message me on my Facebook page at Untold Tales the Podcast. We're also still accepting submissions for the Fishing Failure Hall of Fame. So if you are not an authentic fisherman from time to time and land a fish, go ahead and send us a picture of your most recent catch. If you send us an AI-generated photo, it's looking like we'll be able to tell that's a fraud, but you can always try it, I guess. So yeah, send those photos in. And as always, this has been another Untold Tale from this side of nowhere, where we work twice as hard for half as much and still find time for the important things, like fishing. See you next time, folks.